Hello, everybody. You're very welcome to today's webinar, in which we're focusing on the School of Business. I'm delighted to have Professor Joseph Coughlan with me here this morning, and he's going to go through the wonderful master's programs that we have on offer. After the presentation, which should last about 20-25 minutes or so, we'll have time for questions. So if you have any at all for us, you can put them in, I think, on the right-hand side of the screen that you're looking at. So feel free to put in any comments and questions there, and we will go through them after the presentation. So I'm going to hand over to Professor Coughlan now, and he'll go through the presentation, and then, as I said, afterwards we'll have time for your questions.
Thanks, Deirdre, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you all today. It's not so sunny, but bright at least morning here in Maynooth. My window isn't nice enough to look out on the lovely view that's on your slides, but it's only literally a short walk away from our office. So this presentation is to talk about why choose and think about Maynooth University School of Business for the next step in your career. And we've a range of postgraduate programs that I want to give you a brief flavour of each one. I have them grouped into sections, so some will interest you based on your background, and others you may be interested in more than one of those as well. So this is our quadrangle on the South Campus, and this building is a traditional building built in the 1700s. So we're a university that's interestingly one of Ireland's newest and youngest business schools. But on the other hand, we also have a strong heritage in many different areas of university life. We have a large international faculty, currently 80 academics from all over the world, so pretty much every continent. And also more than half of them are originally not Irish, so you're going to be taught by a very international group of people. That's very positive for showing that you'll be taught by leading experts who are research active and are also able to provide insights from their own backgrounds and disciplines, so that you get kind of a truly global education with us here in the School of Business. We're almost through the AACSB accreditation pathway, so that's something we're very proud of, and we're nearly finished with that. And the good thing is, once we are finished, then it confers that right on our graduates. So should you be with us for the next year, you know, all going well, you would also be a graduate of an AACSB accredited institution, and that'll put us in one of the top 6% of universities, business schools in the world, which is, given there's a lot of business schools, it's a very good number to be part of. We have a growing taught postgraduate profile, which I'm going to talk about today, and a growing student base with over 200 students currently registered on postgraduate programs. So while we are growing, we're still small, so you still get a more individualized experience and a class size that's a lot more conducive to working together as small groups with a mix of students domestically, internationally. We would say that our programs are very practical, very skills-based, and also help you to drive your career forward, and we can share that in terms of employment outcomes and so on for our graduates. If you're looking for more information directly, there's a QR code here. If you've suddenly fumbling with your phone to try and find it, don't worry, I have it repeated on every slide on the bottom right-hand corner as you go forward. But just to leave it here for a few seconds, this will take you to a dedicated web page for the School of Business, and you'll get some downloadable brochures on all our programs, and you'll also get some short videos on some of our programs that we're currently updating at the moment. And that'll give you a little bit more flavor of what happens. Just to say as well, this link, this QR code will appear on every single slide. So if you've missed it, don't worry about it. It's going to come up again. So as I've noted at the start, I'm going to break this into a number of different areas and disciplines. So I'm going to start off with our more technical programs in IT, analytics, and supply chain management. So you can see there the QR code is still down the bottom right. So our first is our very popular MSc Business Analytics. So this combines analytics with general business knowledge. So it's an unusual mix, but very popular one with Irish industry. This is very attractive to students who might have a computer science or engineering background in particular, who want to have a little bit of business and to be able to develop their skills further in analytics, but also apply them directly to business. So in that program, for example, we have modules in analytics, as you would imagine, but also on people, organization, society, supply chain management. But we also have modules, more importantly, which are live modules, which are focused on industry. So you work with industry in order to come up with live projects. And though you do those as part of your modules, but also as part of our summer pathways, where you would spend the summer of your master's either working for a company on placement or working with a company on a project, or if you wish, doing an academic dissertation. Our MSc IT Enabled Innovation looks at the process of digital transformation. This is open to business graduates and non-business graduates. So our graduates here have typically found roles in information systems in terms of the management of those rather than the operational part of them. So maybe if you've got an IS background, computer science, networking, or a business background with a major in management information systems, this would be a very good add-on to your career. We focus on many frameworks that will allow you to harness new technologies such as AI as part of your degree. So very much focused on digital transformation. One of our newest masters is supply chain. We launched last year, so we have 30 students currently on that from all over the world. We're focusing here on practical issues around logistics and supply chain. We're also looking at newer issues such as digitalization and digital twinning of supply chains, which is very popular at the moment. Supply chains, as you probably know, are the backbone of most industries and are really, really important for you as a graduate to be able to get to know how they work and also to be able to manage them across multiple cultures. So we have a number of international type modules on this program as well to give you that global perspective on supply chains that's so essential in today's economy, even in Ireland, because we are, if you probably know, an island on the edge of Europe, and we do a lot of trade via shipping and a lot of research, by the way, on that. We're working with some of my supply chain colleagues and I are working with some ferry companies to change their fuels to be more environmentally sustainable. And that's part of the supply chain problem and our approach to sustainability as well. In marketing, we have two programs. One is in consumer insights and branding strategy. So if you want something that's a bit more strategic, that's looking at how organizations brand themselves. You could also look at how you brand yourself as an influencer, for example, and understanding how consumers think and act. Also, as part of that is the role of technology in marketing and how that's changing, such as virtual reality, augmented reality, and of course, artificial intelligence, which is being a big game changer for marketing strategy at the moment, allowing you as a marketing manager in the future to do a lot of the tasks that you would have outsourced yourself, therefore giving a lot of value to firms. Digital marketing is still very popular. More so now, given that more individuals are hiring marketing people to do this. So in terms of digital marketing, you would focus on traditional SEOs, search engine optimization, and all those sort of things, all the major tools. You do an applied project with a company as part of that as well. In fact, you do the same with the other one. What's interesting, I suppose, about this one is we've taken this from the perspective of a campaign. So you will manage campaigns is what you do in industry. So if you're going to work in industry in marketing, particularly digital marketing, it's very campaign based. So for example, we ourselves here today are doing our marketing campaign for our international students and for future internationalization for students coming in September 2026. So as you can imagine, we're starting early, we're starting on time, and that's really important for you as well to get those messages and get to learn more about that. The building, just as incidentally, that you see on the screen is our Technology Society and Industry building, TSI. This is where the vast majority, if not all of your lectures will occur and where the School of Business is located. And that big window at the front is where the university president sits. So we're right in the center of what happens in the university. So our offices are on those floors, and your teaching is primarily in that building as well. A very modern new building, only commissioned a couple of years ago. A little bit of a difference from the historical side, but we get in Maynooth to match both the history and modernity together. So it's a nice mix on the campus in that particular way, and one's just a short walk away from the other. We also have a number of programs in accounting. I'm going to start off with our newest one, which is an MSc in International Accounting with Management. That's available in conversion and specialized mode. That one is interesting because we are offering a placement with that as part of the program. So that starts with 2 semesters. If you have done some accounting before, we will accept and look at this. We are typically looking for people with no accounting, but we are quite happy to take people with some accounting and tailor the program to give them more ACCA exemptions in particular. We are going to give an 8 to 10 week paid placement as part of that program. I will say with that particular program, because of the placement requirement, we are going to limit numbers a little bit, and also we're going to require interview for entry. So that's going to be an important part of the process, but we will come back and do interviews online very easily. If you believe that in-country interviews, if you're an agent, for example, if you believe in-country interviews are more appropriate for your candidates, we can work out something because we're always in different countries. Some of our international office team are in different countries. We can organize that with you. We've already some arranged in some countries. So more than happy to talk to you about that. So that one requires an interview. Other than that, it's normal application process, which I know Deirdre is going to talk a little bit about, but I'm also going to mention very briefly as part of my presentation. We also have a 1-year higher diploma in professional accounting. So this is exclusively for non-accounting graduates. And then we also have a 2-year master's in accounting, which brings you to the level of someone who has done a degree and a master's in accounting in 2 years. So that's quite a popular program with international students who have never studied accounting before. And it focuses a lot on how we are working with industry to ensure that you are career ready and have a significant amount of professional exemptions from that. If you have a degree in accounting and meet certain criteria, we do have a specialized 1-year master's in accounting. This requires an accounting degree. It requires a very specific accounting degree with specific exemptions. If you don't have those, we would offer our MSc International Accounting with Management. That MA Accounting, the 1 year, does not have a placement. So for a lot of students, we find that the international accounting is becoming a little bit more popular. But for some domestic students and some international students, the 1-year MA, which is a similar fee, is maybe more suitable depending on the level of accounting you already have. We're more than happy to discuss, my colleague Danny Chow, whose name's on our website, more than happy to discuss that with you as to what one might suit you best at any particular stage. In finance, we have a conversion program for if you have a non-finance degree, a higher diploma in arts finance, and also a specialized MSc finance, where you do look at things like fintech and you look at new types of technology, a lot of interaction with industry, but also a very solid base in financial econometrics, derivatives, bonds, all the products that you'd expect to find in an MSc in finance. It's a very popular degree there that is doing very well in the jobs market. In management and strategy, then, we have a conversion program in business management. This is for non-business graduates, gives you effectively a business degree in a year. Very fast-paced, but very strong level of content. You cover the major functions of business within 1 year. You get to apply that in case studies, and you also get to apply it in a business consulting project at the end of your master's. If you have a business degree already, we have an international business master's for you like to deepen your knowledge in that area. As part of that, we do a lot of virtual teamwork with other countries. So you would join up with master's students from across the world on live projects. And we also have a live company project as part of that master's, where, as well as the summer project, you have a project as part of the program. Our MSc Strategy and Innovation is probably our oldest master's and blends innovation and strategy. The two go hand in hand. We also include in that program some new technology around digital transformation. So you get a broad view of what strategy is and how it works. Again, you get to apply this to case studies within the modules, but also a full module, a live module, which we call Managing Business Consultancy, to give you consultancy skills to put with your degree undergraduate results. So that's our Strategy and Innovation Masters. We've also launched an MBA in the last year, full-time only, so it's not available part-time, just available full-time. Our focus here is on all the major functions of business. In Ireland, we tend to have single MBAs, as in an MBA is a more general qualification, and for more specialist qualifications, we tend to have our MSCs, which we've already met. So our MBA would be a little bit different. It has a big focus on career development and management. We primarily take non-business graduates, but we are happy on occasion to take business graduates. This has a dedicated 6-month placement as part of the program, so really getting you into industry. And our objective is that you would basically have a job and you would work in it as part of your placement. To do that, we have a dedicated placement officer for the MBA, and she, Loretta, spends time with you every week to ensure that your CV and to get your networking skills up to date. We have a lot of industry-oriented modules, a lot of interview preparation and CV clinics. We do that with all our students, but it's a little bit more intensive for the MBA. And we have placement workshops throughout the program. So all these things are available on all our programs, but for the MBA, it's a little bit more intensive and a little bit more customized, and you get more attention because of the nature of the program. And particularly because you get a longer placement. It is a 16-month program. Our industry exposure there is very high. You have guest speakers, trips away, insights from industry leaders, and obviously an internship opportunity for 6 months, which is a significant change. I think this is primarily a non-domestic audience, but just in case some of you are domestic, we do offer most of these programs in part-time mode as well. So we are very flexible. That also allows us that if you come to us full-time, we have industry executives doing the program as well. So you get to learn from both people who are from other cultures, and you also get to learn from industry executives who are taking the program on a part-time basis. So that's really good because you get to talk to people who are actually doing this job day to day. As part of your program, you'll be in projects with them, you'll be working with them, and so on. So what are the key features? Well, small classes. Our master's classes tend to be at the most about 50, with often a lot smaller, 20, 25. Significant interaction with industry. Sometimes you will be working for industry as part of your program. So we would say that at least half your modules, if not more, will have direct industry contact, and others will have things like guest speakers and so on as well. So you'd have a significant interaction with industry as part of your degree. That allows you to get quite a lot of networking done with Irish industry. Some of you will probably be new to Ireland, so you're thinking, oh, how am I going to get here? And you might be thinking, okay, I'm finished. When I finish my master's, I might go home, or you might decide to avail of our 2-year stay-back visa that's available in Ireland. And if you do that, it's really important you have that industry interaction and that you have connections in Ireland in order to avail of those. So we help you with those and to get that started. Our modules are mainly continuous assessment based. There are some modules with exams, but very, very few. So we're very much an applied people. You end up working with companies. They don't want you to do exams, except in certain areas where we require exams like accounting, finance, and one or two others. But in general, it's continuous assessment based. So you get to apply your knowledge. So very much kind of to customize as well. And if you have an interest in a particular industry, you can customize your projects to fit with that. Our modules are very career focused in that we have compulsory for nearly all students a career development module at the start of your program where you get time to think and support and think about how you want your career to develop and some support to think about how you might do that and ways to help you develop yourself as an individual. We think that's really important. Yes, the content of our masters is also really important, but you are the product that we are trying to develop, and we need to develop you as well as develop your knowledge. So you need to think about yourself and what you're going to learn as part of your program and how you're going to benefit from that. So, it's all well and good saying I'm going to learn a lot about finance or analytics or anything like that, but what are you going to do to make that your own and to ensure that you can get the most out of that qualification that you're spending a lot of your time and money on? And we're very much focused on practical work-ready skills. We ensure that you have consultancy skills by the end, that you can actually do things, you can hit the ground running. A good example of that is in our finance masters. We have Bloomberg integrated into the program. You will have the Bloomberg Market Concept Certificate completed by your program. And that will give you an into companies and will ensure that you get an edge over other applicants. Bloomberg Market Concepts is something that a lot of major financial trading companies will require you to do in the first couple of weeks of work in a new organization. You already have it before you go in. So you can see you're already being able to add value before you even start with an organization. Here are some examples from the accounting side and some other companies of our industry partners. This slide is very much focused on accounting and finance, but I just wanted to give you and a few others. I just wanted to give you some ideas of some of the international groups that we work with. Some are smaller, some are larger, some industry bodies in Ireland like ACCA, international bodies, and some international banks. I could fill a lot of slides with this, but I just picked some today just on the accounting and finance side to give you a little bit of an overview of that kind of area. So to make an application, we require an undergraduate degree in any discipline. In some areas, we require business. And I've flashed out which ones those are. In some of the accounting ones, we require accounting, and some of the finance one, we require something equivalent to that in economics and so on. For most of our programs, it's a minimum grade 2 honors or equivalent. You can talk to, if you're working with an agent or you talk to one of our colleagues, we'll help you assess what that might be. But generally, a good solid degree would be absolutely fine. If you're in a situation where your degree maybe is in a different discipline, but you have work experience that would be relevant. So a good example of this is maybe you have a degree in communications or in media studies or in even English or in literature, but you have 3 years or more work experience in marketing, or maybe you've work experience in general management. We would look at that and consider that to be equivalent on a case-by-case basis. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. We have a system to do that. It's called recognition of prior learning. And our colleagues who deal with your application will come back to you on that. But definitely, we're very open. We really like people with experience. A lot of our people coming in have work experience. It means you can, build your career a little bit quicker, and you can think about that. So in terms then of the process, we have a system called MU Apply. Typically, you'll need your official degree parchment. If you're not complete, that's fine. Obviously, you might be a final year student, in which case, you let us know when you're likely to finish. We want full official transcripts up to date. Obviously, if you're doing your degree currently, we'll accept them when you get them, but we need to know kind of that you're in final year and roughly when we're going to get them. We do encourage you to upload a CV. That's essential for our MBA, but we do encourage you to do that because it helps us. For example, if your degree was in a topic, let's say in arts like English or culture or something like that, but you want to apply for one of our business masters, it allows us to assess you much quicker. And most of you probably would have a CV hanging around anyway. So just please put that up. It would really help us to deal with your application quicker. A personal statement. Tips for personal statement, half a page at most, why you're interested. I wouldn't bother putting it into an AI. If you want to, that's fine, but I wouldn't bother. I mean, it's you and your words, and that's all we need. If you come from a country, certain countries, we will require evidence of English. We require 6.5 IELTS or equivalent. So our webpage has, for our international office, has a very clear list of accepted qualifications. And if you are required to do that, you'll be let know, and we require that that test would be in date, typically 2 years at most before start of the program. If we have an interview in the program, which we do for 2 of ours, one is for the MBA and the other is for our MSc in International Accounting and Management, then we will call you for an online interview. As I said at the start, if we're in a situation whereby we can do interviews in person, and one of my colleagues or I or one of my international office colleagues is in country, we can do interviews there and we can work with you, and or if you're an agent on your candidates, to do them online sometimes can be absolutely fine as well. We're very happy to do that and to schedule at people's convenience. So finally, applications, I believe, open up today. So that's good news for us. And our application window remains open until courses are full. Typically for our international programs, we would close off around June. So just for clarity, we would close off around the 30th of June, though some do close a little bit earlier. But in general, we would encourage people to apply early, and then at least you're settled, you have your place all ready and assured, and then you know what you're doing. And then we can contact you throughout the year to keep you up to date on start dates and all that sort of stuff. We expect people to be here in early September 2026. Some of our programs fill very quickly, so an early application is encouraged, particularly the ones with placement. So our MBA, International Accounting and Management, and our analytics would be the other very popular one that fill quickly. And if you're interested in those, please feel free to apply early. We can deal with you and give you the interviews required for the first 2. I know our international office has other webinars coming up, and I know the School of Business probably will have some more on specialized programs over the coming weeks and months. So please stay in touch, register with us. I know you have for today, but keep an eye on your emails. If there's any other interesting ones that come along, please feel free. The university has a wide range of postgraduate programs across a wide range of areas. Business is one of the largest ones, but we're more than happy that you come to Maynooth anyway. It's a fabulous campus. And while we are a large university now with 15, 16,000 students, large for Ireland and large for us, I suppose, we still retain an ethos of being quite small and intimate, and you do get to know your lecturers and get to know people. So I would encourage you to choose Maynooth University School of Business as for your postgraduate taught master's program. That's it for me. But if you have any questions at all, I'm here and happy to stick around and answer them. And thank you very much for your time today. And I'll leave that slide up in case you want to access the QR code. Thank you.
That's great, Joe. Thank you very much for that. You went into great detail there on all our courses and, clearly showing how we combine academic learning with the kind of real life experience through the projects and placements and that. You can put your questions now, if you like, into the little chat function there while we're waiting for them to come along. I'd just like to give you a little bit of general information on Maynooth itself. As Joe said, we are a growing university. Our numbers are growing each year, but we are still holding on to our small university town community here in Maynooth. The university itself is located in the heart of Maynooth, so a lot of the activities, a lot of the life, if you like, of the community is involved with the university. In saying that, we're about 25 kilometres from Dublin city centre, very easily reached with direct rail and bus links and that. So you have the full facilities, amenities of Dublin's, capital city, vibrant European city. It also means that we're very well located for short trips abroad. If you want to go and see other European capitals or visit other cities, you can do it very easily, go for, short breaks and that. We have accommodation both on campus and off campus. As the year goes on, I'll be in touch with you, telling you how to apply for our on campus or hostel accommodation. We just recently opened, just in September, a brand new Buckley House for international students. This is a lovely, bright new building. Similar to our other on-campus accommodation, all of the students have their own bedroom, their own bathroom, and then shared kitchens and shared living and social areas. As I say, when you need to start applying for that, we'll let you know. If you don't want to live on campus, you can go for off-campus accommodation. Again, we have a team there to help you, our student pad team, and they will help you find off-campus accommodation, normally within possibly a walking distance of the university, but certainly short commuting distance of the university. While you're here as a student, you can work part-time. You can work up to 20 hours a week. While you should have no problem finding a part-time job, it's very important to remember and to plan to have sufficient finances and funding for the first 6, maybe 8 weeks of your time here in Ireland. I think questions might be starting to come through, and we'll get to them now in a moment or two. Joe has already mentioned the 2-year stay back visa here in Ireland. So that kicks in, it's called the 1G, and we'll help you apply for that once your results have been ratified. Full-time courses are required to be on campus 5 days a week.
So we don't require you to be on campus 5 days a week for full-time courses. Some courses are more intensive in that we would have, so our MBA, for example, would have classes some weeks 5 days and some weeks a lot less. For examples like business analytics and so on, you would be on campus about 5 to 6 days every month, typically Thursdays and Fridays. So you would have across the 12 weeks of semester, you wouldn't be in on Mondays and Tuesdays ever. You'd be in some Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So it's quite conducive to working, and I will say this very clearly, part-time, not full-time, but absolutely. So our full-time courses wouldn't require you to be on campus 5 days a week. We're not, a second question, just more specific on visas. We're not expecting any issues on US visas in particular. US citizens can come to Ireland on a standard visa for 90 days without any requirements. Study visas for US tend to be very easily granted. I'm not saying they're automatic or anything like that, but they tend to be fairly straightforward from the US in particular. For international students residing in Ireland, we just got a question about paying in installments. That can be possible. You'd have to talk to our fees office. I know there's a minimum that we require for the resident permit. So we can talk to you individually about that. Maybe contact our international office if you've got a question. We can advise on that in your particular situation. But for international students already resident in Ireland, yes, we would be able to do something on the fees in terms of that. For people coming, it's a little bit more tricky because the government required that the Department of Justice require that a certain amount of fees are paid before we issue an offer. That's for our 1-year programs. For our longer programs, we do come into some sort of discussion with them, all right, where there's multiple years involved. So there's our 2-year in accounting and our MBA.
Yep, thanks, Joe. Generally, if you require an entry visa to come here to Ireland, the university requires that you pay your full tuition fees when you're applying for your visa. So that can be any time from May onwards. So typically students apply for their visas May, June, July. So that's when the time you need to have your finances in order and to pay your fees and prove that as part of the visa application process.
Yeah.
If you don't require a visa, an entry visa to come here, you just arrive in middle of September. You should have paid your fees by the time the program starts. So again, the middle of September, you should have international students coming to the country should have paid their
Yeah.
full tuition fees by then.
Yeah. So there's a question about finance requirements for master's programs. I'm not exactly clear if that's so I'll answer it in 2 ways. So first of all, for the masters in finance, we require that you've studied some econometrics and economics and maths before. I'm not sure if that's it. For the other one, for the finance requirements for general master's programs, financial requirements, Deirdre's outlined that the fees have to be paid in advance. In general, for those coming to Ireland, and if you're a student who international students already residing in Ireland, then we can come to discussion about installments. Fees are published on our website. You can have a look at those, and they're updated for 25-26 already. You'll find them if you just do a search on Maynooth fees, and there's a box for postgraduate. You can go in there and there's a downloadable list of all our fees for all our programs. Unless you want to clarify that question, I wasn't exactly sure if that answers it, but I'm happy to stay on and deal with that. Or you're more than welcome to contact me directly. It's joseph.coughlan@mu.ie. And if I can't answer, either our international office or our fees office would be able to help you at some stage with that particular question.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, I forgot to say at the very start, is being recorded, and we will share it afterwards, so you can take your time and go back over everything. And if you have more questions, either myself or Joe, we'll be very happy to help you.
Absolutely, yeah, very happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, well, it's just gone a little bit quiet there in the question, so we'll wait and see if a few more come in.
Sure.
Joe has already mentioned too that the applications portal is open from today from 12 o'clock Irish time, so in about a half an hour or so, you will be able to submit your application. And as Joe has already said, we need transcripts, full transcripts to date, degree certificate if you have it, if you finished your degree programs. Your CV, we're now asking for CVs for all applications, and then obviously your passport. If you have English language qualifications at the moment, that's fine, upload them. If not, please don't panic, please don't worry, you can upload them at a later date. You will require them obviously by the time you apply for your visa and that, but if you don't have them right now in the autumn, it's absolutely fine, don't worry about it.
What are our policies on working with the US government when it comes to international students being targeted by ICE? The Trump administration speaking out against the government. We don't share information with outside agencies. So you're a student in Ireland. We have no particular, I mean, if you are sponsored by the US government, obviously we have to report to them that, you're on campus and stuff like that. But in general, we're not that type of state. We have internationally good links with the US, and a lot of obviously students, a lot of Americans would consider themselves to be Irish, but we don't have any particular links with any administration. We don't report to any administration. The only reporting requirement you have in Ireland is as an international student, you have to register with our police, which is the Garda Síochána. That's an international residence permit card. You have to carry that with you at all times as a form of identification. But other than that, and there is no record that I'm aware of, and I don't think any of us are aware of, to be clear, of anybody on those administrations ever being deported back to the US or to the US or having a visa denied for any of those reasons. Obviously this is quite a specific question, and if you think you have on a watch list or something like that, well then obviously that's a big concern for you and your safety. But Ireland is not that type of state. We do require that international students are registered. That's mainly so that we know who's in the country. It's not any sort of checking mechanism, and there's nobody in the background sharing those lists around the world. Absolutely not. It's completely and utterly confidential. We as the university don't even get told. We just try and ensure that you are legally here and that you can legally be a student with a correct visa. And after that, then it's up to you. At the end of the program, should you be successful and complete the program successfully, you're eligible for a 2 year, up to 2 year study visa. So it's one work visa, apologies, work visa. So 1 year, and you're not tied to an organization, nor do you have to be sponsored for those 2 years. You're a free agent and can work for any company in the country. It's not really a problem. After that, though, you do have to be sponsored, but generally a lot of people do stay after that period. There's no, and just for clarification, there are no mechanisms by which we report to any US or any other country agency for that matter. We don't. As I said, we do have, our police do require that you are registered with the police, but as far as I'm aware, there is absolutely and no mechanism whatsoever by which that's ever used again. You get a card, you're here, and that's pretty much it. Deirdre, am I right on that? I think
Yeah,
that's
no,
the way it works.
absolutely, Joe.
Yeah,
That's
just
it.
to be
Yeah,
sure.
it's a very simple process. You're simply just confirming your details that you're registered with Maynooth University, you're a full-time student, and you get your little IRP card, which is your student ID card, and that's your permission to stay here and be a student, be a full-time student. It allows you then to travel, as I say, abroad, maybe for short trips or for conferences or something
Yeah,
related to your course, and come back into the country without an issue. And again, when you finish your studies with us and you transfer onto the graduate, onto the 1G visa, that's permission to remain living here in the country for 2 years. And as Joe said, you don't have to have a job offer in hand. You don't have to have secured employment. It's permission for 1 year, then it's renewed for another year to continue living and staying here. And that registration is just with the Irish state and with nobody else.
yeah. We don't share information of
No.
that type. In terms of good question, records of letters of recommendation, we don't require them. If you have them, please put them in. Obviously, it'll help your application if you have them, but I wouldn't go searching for them. So if you have them already and maybe a professor or someone you worked with in the past is willing to write a reference for you, absolutely please do put it in if you have it already, but please don't go finding one. It's not an essential requirement for us. So job opportunities for a master's in finance are fairly good. Ireland is a centre for financial services. We have an international financial services centre here in Ireland, and financial services is one of our largest industries. It happens to have a few tax breaks, which means why a lot of international firms locate here. So most of the big US and non-US banks have offices in Ireland. So Citibank, JP Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Chase, also quite a number of Deutsche Bank and a number of the large banks. We also have a large Irish banking sector. We have a large central bank, which is, as of by the time you finish, will be the central bank. Ireland will be hosting the EU presidency. So there will be some opportunities there. We also have a lot of smaller financial services firms that deal with trading and deal in other areas of compliance in particular. So there's quite a lot of jobs for finance graduates in Ireland. I would say it's quite a buoyant market. It depends what you want. Some jobs are harder to get than others, as you would expect. So things like trading and trading desks are a little bit more complex. But, you know, we do have a very good reputation. Our Masters in Finance is very much aligned to the CFAs, which is the Chartered Financial Analyst roles and jobs. And we encourage our students to complete those exams post-graduation. As you may or may not be aware, Masters in Finance no Masters in Finance allows you to get exemptions from Chartered Financial Analyst, but we do align our course with that, so you'd have a very good opportunity to pass it at the end. So you'd be very much work ready. I also, as I said before, Bloomberg is a big tool within the industry, and we train you directly in that. So that would be something that I think is a big plus to Maynooth, that you do from day one. You go in and you have access to a Bloomberg lab, and you get to practice, and you get to do the courses that beginners in industry do as part of their training. You've already got that complete. So it does give our graduates an edge in the market.
That's great. Thanks, Joe. We've been talking a lot about courses and course content and visas and all of that. The other side of Maynooth too is that we want you to enjoy your time here
Oh,
and to
absolutely,
enjoy
yeah.
your experience here. We have over 120 clubs and societies active on campus. So there's a great range of, you know, sports activities to interests there for students. So there's plenty for you to join into and get to meet other students and, you know, expand friendships and that. So it's not all about work and study here. We
No.
also want you to have downtime, playtime if you like, and enjoy the whole experience here at Maynooth University.
And integrating to the university, I think that that's important
Mhm.
because, you know, you might be here with us for a year, but, you know, you'll be an alumnus for the rest of your life, and we'd like to keep in touch with you, see how you're doing. We do try and keep in touch with our graduates as much as possible, bring them back in to talk to our students and give them the opportunities. I know, for example, I've met a couple of our most recent graduates who are currently working, talking to them about their graduation, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So it's kind of nice to be able to see how they're getting on, what jobs they have. Um, some of them have gone home to their home countries, but quite a lot of them have stayed in Ireland to take advantage of that visa. Even if their original final intention is to go home to their own countries, you know, having a couple of years of experience in Ireland will really help to boost their career when they go home in a what's becoming in many markets a very competitive job market. It gives you a bit of an edge in that particular area.
Okay, there seems to be kind of a semi-started question there. Ring, if you'd like to finish it off there and put it into the chat, we'll reply to you there.
Or if not, you can email it to us. It's not a problem. Whichever they can email it to us, whichever suits best.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. You're very welcome to email either of us.
Yep,
We're here to
please.
help
Yeah.
you. We're here to answer all your questions. So don't feel shy or don't feel that it's a, you know, a silly question. There's no such thing as that. We're here to help you. Okay, I think it's I don't see any more questions coming through to us here. So if you want to put in a question, please do it now, because otherwise we will finish this particular webinar. As I say, it will be shared with everybody afterwards. And if you have any questions, just email you myself or Joe and we will get back to you. But otherwise, I'd like to thank you, Joe. Thank you very much for your time this
Thank you,
morning,
Peter.
and to thank everybody on the call, the agents and students who are with us. Thanks for taking the time out. I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and we will be in touch again very shortly after this interview. But for now, thank you, bye, and we will see you shortly. Thanks,
Thanks very
bye-bye.
much, everybody. Take care. Have a lovely day.